I finish a song every single month now, and honestly, I can't even remember the last idea that got away from me. But I want you to know something. That is not who I used to be. I used to be the guy at 2 a.m., 20 bounces deep into the same song, staring at Logic, absolutely convinced it wasn't done, and having no idea why. Nothing ever felt finished, it just felt wrong. So if that's you right now, voice memos full of half songs, projects you can't close, I'm not going to tell you you're not talented enough. There are 3 real reasons your songs don't get finished, and none of them are about talent. Let me walk you through all 3. Bottleneck number 1, your tools are lying to you. Let's go back to the 2 a.m. moment. I'd finish a mix in Logic, it sounded good in the session, then I'd bounce it, listen back to my old headphones, and it sounded different. Not quite right, so I'd go back in and tweak. I'm not exaggerating. Here's what was actually happening. My headphones sounded different from my mixing environment. The bounce didn't match what I heard while I was working. So, of course, every version felt wrong. And it wasn't until I stopped blaming myself and started questioning the gear that anything changed. I switched my monitoring, and suddenly what I heard in the session matched what came out the other end. The endless bounce loop just stopped. So the first question isn't, why can't I finish? It's, can I even trust what I'm hearing? If your monitoring is lying to you, you'll chase a finish line that keeps moving. No amount of discipline fixes that. Fix the tool. Bottleneck number 2. You never actually committed. This one's mental, not technical. When there's no deadline, nobody's making you finish. It's just you and infinite time. So you have to become your own deadline, and the way I did that, I put money on it. Because when I pay for something, I pay attention. When I don't, I kind of don't care. I hired a mixer from Fiverr, cheap, $20. And when I heard what he sent back, it was the first time in my life one of my songs sounded genuinely good. I got this rush. Oh my God, that's my song. And it lit a fire under me. I immediately went and made a music video, hired a director, spent more money. For years, I told myself I didn't bother mixing and mastering because I didn't care that much. That was a lie. I wasn't careless, I was scared. I didn't have the skills. So I avoided it and called it not caring. Paying someone forced me to actually hear the standard I was avoiding. And once I heard it, I couldn't unhear it. Now, 2 important things, because just set a deadline is lazy advice on its own. First, the deadline has to be reasonable for your current skill. I wanted to do 2 songs a month to compete with the top guys, but at my level, doing everything myself, I can realistically do 1. Shrink it to a week and it's garbage. A deadline should push you, not force you to release trash. Match it to where you actually are. Second, that Fiverr guy, by the 4th revision, he stopped improving. He'd overlook things, take forever to reply, and eventually I realized I'd outgrown him. And my business brain kicked in. I'd met amateurs spending $700 on a single song that was never going to get the streams to justify it. That's a bad investment. So I went full BYD. Everything in-house, my own templates, my own mix, my own master, not under anyone's control, not waiting on anyone. Paying taught me the standard. Then I brought it home. Bottleneck number 3. You're writing in the wrong order. Third bottleneck, and this one traps a totally different person. The one with a notebook full of lyrics that never became songs. That was me too. I'd have a page of words, sit down to record, and get stuck in what I call priority mode. What comes first? The lyric, the melody, the chorus, the verse? It was chaos, and nothing ever came together. Then I flipped it, and when I did, I released my first song on Spotify. I used to think melody first was situational. Then I found Ryan Tedder's approach, and it's dead simple. Melody always comes first. Hasn't failed me once since. People don't fall in love with your lyrics first, they fall in love with your melody. So you build the melody first, then you fit the words into it like a puzzle. And what actually makes a melody stick? Dynamics, movement. A chorus that sits on one flat note is boring. A sticky one moves. Long notes, short notes, high notes, low notes, playing off the beat like yin and yang. Take I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. That chorus goes up and then it comes down. Long notes into short notes. That's why it's burned into your brain decades later. That's not luck, that's movement. And in this era, if your melody isn't hooky and catchy, you get skipped in the first few seconds. I've worked with so many people whose melodies just don't land, and it's almost because they didn't put in the work to make them move. So there it is. 3 reasons your songs don't get finished. Your tools are lying to you. You never actually committed, and you're building in the wrong order. Notice not one of them is "You're not good enough." But I'll leave you with one last thing, because it's the other side of this. Not every song deserves to be finished. Some ideas just aren't you. I'd never force myself into hardstyle, and sometimes I hear a sample that sounds good, but I know in my gut it's not going to come out as me. Let those go. That's not quitting, that's taste.